Here's a big announcement from Central Georgia Primary Care. We're proud to announce the opening of our second location right here on Central Drive in East Dublin. No matter where you are, north, south, east, or west, Central Georgia Primary Care has a health professional waiting to serve you. Central Georgia Primary Care, next to Paul's Tire on Industrial Boulevard in Dublin, and now at our brand new location on Central Drive in East Dublin, right next to Thomas Auto Supply. Need an appointment? Call us at 478-202-9440. Central Georgia Primary Care, waiting to serve you at both locations, Industrial Boulevard in Dublin and now on Central Drive in East Dublin.
Hi everybody, good afternoon. Thank you for coming today. This is our Veterans Day Luncheon, here to celebrate our service. I'm Chris Wilson, I'm a member of the SGA. I am also an Army vet. Ms. Janet would like us to go around and say our affiliated branches. Like I said, I'm in the Army. Tony was Army as well.
I'm in the Army.
Air Force.
Army.
Army. Air Force.
I was in the Army.
Army. Anybody else?
Army strong.
There we go.
Marine Corps.
Marine Corps. There you go. Okay. Anybody else? All right. Well, with that being said,
We're in Ollie's Army, the rest of us.
okay, there you go. I'm going to invite Tony up to do the invocation, and then we will have lunch.
Let us pray. Dear God, please let every veteran of our nation's armed forces feel truly and appropriately honored by the attention and appreciation of their fellow citizens. Let no one feel forgotten or neglected. Let every man and woman, young or old, feel the deep and enduring gratitude of our nation. Bless the food and bless the event today. Amen.
Hi, I'm Dr. Dustin Gay. I'm a local orthopedic surgeon with Houston Clinic Orthopedics, and we'd really like to invite everybody to come out to our new office facility to take a look at it. It's a larger space with physical therapy, and we're just excited to have it, and we'd love for people to come out and visit us.
Come by and see us today at our brand new location, the Houston Clinic, Medical Drive in Dublin.
Before I introduce our speaker, I too just want to thank you as president of Oconee Fall Line Technical College, but as a citizen of the United States for your service and all that you have done for us. I was sharing with this table before that I come from a military family. I currently have two nephews, one serving in the Marines, and he's going into special operations. My other nephew is at West Point on the wrestling team. My brother was a Navy SEAL. My father served in World War II on a destroyer. My grandfather served in World War I in the Army. And I have an uncle who served in Vietnam. And my father-in-law was an Army doctor in Vietnam. So it's all around me. So and God bless, they all survived and came out of it. And it has really changed one of my nephew's lives. I think he would not have survived had he not gone in the Army. And I know that's crazy to say, but the discipline and what they've given him has really changed his life. So, but thank you. So now I get to introduce Michael Cato. Mr. Cato has been with the Carl Vincent VA for 10 years and has served with the Macon Vet Center, Carl Vincent's Veteran Transportation Service, and currently serves as a voluntary service specialist at the Center for Development and Civic Engagement at the Dublin VA. He served 6 years in the United States Air Force as a behavioral science specialist, counseling veterans and their families through stress, readjustment, and family crisis while stationed at Wilford Hall Medical Center in San Antonio, Texas, and at RAF Lakenheath, England. After his honorable discharge from the Air Force, Michael spent 12 years in Salem, Oregon area working with the Oregon Department of Community Colleges and Workforce Development. So it's got a connection to us. Right. Addressing community and personal issues related to mass layoffs and business closures. Michael returned to his home state of Georgia in 2002 to continue work in public service and to serve his military brothers and sisters. He is married, has 2 daughters that are off the payroll, one's getting married, and 3 grandsons.
Thank you very much. I don't have quite the pedigree of family history that she does with the military, but I have my dad and 2 of my uncles were Vietnam veterans, and I have a brother who's a Desert Storm veteran, all Navy. When I started to go in the military, my dad said, I said I was going to the Navy, and my dad said, you know, you're not, you go in the Air Force. And I'm like, what do you mean? Our whole family is Navy, uncles, you know, his brothers, all that kind of stuff. So he said the Air Force will treat you better. And maybe that's true as far as living conditions, but when I was in, the promotions were really slow. It was in the late 80s, and there was a bunch of defense cuts and that sort of thing. And am I moving one time?
No, you're fine.
Okay. The promotions were very slow, and I was married to military. So when we had been stationed in Texas for a few years, and then we went to England for 4, and we had both done overseas long tours, and they said, okay, so now you're going back to the States, and she's going to Germany. And we're like, we're both going back to the States, and we're done. So that was kind of the end of my military service as far as being active duty was concerned. The interesting part of being, my bio says that I'm from here, and I'm actually a Navy brat, as kind of I mentioned, but we moved around a bit, mostly stayed in the South. I was actually born in Iceland, but we moved back here when I was in 6th grade, and so Eastman, Dodge County is really my home. So I moved around a bit with that, but when we left England to come back to the States, we had job offers in Oregon, so we went out there to get jobs, and that's where I ended up with economic development in the community college system and that. So it's been, I think, 10 years after I got out of the military before. Some of you guys may be familiar with this that are military, and gals. When you get out, at the time that I got out, they gave you a ticket home, and that was it. So I didn't know there were benefits out there for veterans. When I came back to the States, 10 years, I never knew anything about going to the VA or any of that kind of stuff. So when I moved back to Georgia and I was looking for a job, I talked to a Georgia State Veterans representative and said, you know, what kind of work do you do? Because I was thinking about applying for that kind of work. And he said, well, let me show you. Takes my DD 214, pulls me up and goes, you're eligible for VA benefits. Did you know that? I was like, no idea. So that was kind of my connection with getting back into the VA system. And then I ended up getting a job working for the Vet Center in Macon, where we did outreach and connected with a lot of veterans over PTSD issues and those kinds of things, and just a lot of outreach, because there are so many veterans, and you all see them all the time, that they don't do stuff with the VA. They don't know the connection. The VA's had a bad history or put a bad taste in their mouth because of one event or one person they connected with, and that's kind of where we are now. Is a huge amount of my job is outreach. So we're going out, connecting, doing outreach events all over the place. And when I started with the VA, we were a 1-star hospital, which out of 5 stars, that's not very good. We just recently became a 4-star hospital. So we have come a long way in the last 10 years as far as the way we treat veterans, the services that are out there for veterans, and our facility as well. So a few months back, y'all probably all saw the information in the paper about the Air Commission that was talking about we need to close the VA at Dublin and build a big new facility in Macon, and that got canned. So that happened back in the 80s, if you remember, if you can remember that far back. But the representative at the time said, no, we're not doing that. So they kind of squashed it back then. But then the Air Commission came back and looked at it again and said, well, that really makes sense for us to move to Macon. But instead of that, well, we gave them some correct information about the veteran population, and there's a lot more down this direction than they had seen. Plus the developments going on at the VA, it just didn't make sense financially for us to move. So the thinking is now that we'll project what they call it's kind of like a mega clinic for the VA in the Macon area, Probably won't have inpatient services, but it'll have like outpatient, a lot more expanded services than what the VA offers now in the Macon area. We did expand just a few years ago to a renovated store, a closed grocery store that was renovated, and it offers a lot more there than what was in Macon. And they're doing the same thing in Warner Robins. Warner Robins has a huge population of veterans as well. So we're looking at doing the same thing there. Unfortunately, the last piece of property we looked at fell through. So we're basically at the restarting the search again. So that kind of gives you a little bit about what's going on with that part of the VA. Now, as far as here, I have some bags over here that I'll pass out to you before I leave, but there's a lot going on at the VA as far as the engagement with the community. So my department, which used to be voluntary service, is now Center for Development and Civic Engagement, and we're kind of doing a transition as to what that means. But we do so much stuff with veteran services organizations, with the community college, with businesses in the community, with Chamber of Commerce, and all those partners that play into things that we all do together to help veterans. And also, because of the employment that we have, we're at about 1,800 employees. So there's so much stuff that we do together. The civic engagement part really encompasses a lot better what we do besides just handling volunteers that come in and students that come in to do internships or we do proctoring and different things like that with the school. So that engagement with our community is a lot more important than it used to be. COVID kind of shut us down for a little bit, like did most things, where we kind of had to tighten things up a bit with being able to go out and do outreach and things like that. So much of it went virtual and stuff. So we're kind of trying to get back to, we cover a 49 county catchment area. So we're trying to do more and more outreach outside, and we'd like to get within the next 18 months to where we have done an event in every single county at least once, if not multiple times. So the things as far as structure-wise going on at the VA, we're building a new 35,000 square foot facility that's going to be prioritized for women's health. That will allow us to do a lot better job with the female veterans, as well as expand some more primary care of our primary care activities with the VA. We have 2 teams right now. If you're a veteran, you know it's blue team and green team, and you usually get one of those. But we'll probably have at least one other team, purple or yellow or something, you know, that color code deal. But that will allow us to expand our primary care. And the wait times have really dropped a lot for veterans as far as when I started, I think there were some people who'd been waiting a year and a half, 2 years for appointments, and it was ridiculous. So that, with things like the ability for veterans to be able to go out on the market and find people that have been cleared to do services for veterans and that sort of thing has really made a difference, shortened the wait times down. And our current director, Manuel Davila, this is his first director position, and he is really doing a lot of things to hold folks accountable. We used to have a meeting every morning that was called Safe Day Call, and we'd talk to about a half an hour, just kind of generic stuff. Now we spend about an hour, and every department almost has a slide that they go through about where our numbers are. And our director is very good about, well, 2 weeks ago you said it was this, why has it dropped? Or why hasn't that improved, or something like that. So he's, in a very encouraging way, he's holding people accountable, so it's making a big difference in our stats as far as that goes. But in the service that goes to veterans, it's hugely different than what it has been in the past. So yeah, I feel a lot more comfortable now talking about being a VA employee and being part of the outreach and all that than I did when I first started. And I was just like, you run into so many veterans that are just like, I'm not having anything to do with the VA, you know, kind of thing. So it's a lot different now. So, yeah. Yeah. So if you're a veteran and you walk in and you have an issue with somebody that you meet and they don't do a good job of customer service, I'm going to give you my phone number. You got your phones ready or something to write with? My direct phone number, 478-277-8255. 6727. That goes, you don't have to go through the phone system. You can call me directly and let me know what's going on, and we'll work with it. Because that's not something we want, is for you have in marketing they talk about, if you have an issue with somebody, then you're probably going to tell 20 people if it's negative. You might tell 3 people if it's positive. So what we don't want is for somebody to walk away feeling like they got shorted. Yes, sir. 478 277 6727. So yeah, because what we don't want is for somebody to walk off feeling like they got shorted. I have a neighbor, and he's 64, 5, and I talked to him off and on, and he will not come to the VA because back when he got out of the military, his wife came to the States a month ahead of him, and they said because of that, they would not cover the maternity coverage for his twins. And he's no way VA. That's kind of his thing. So I'm trying to reach out to him and say, things have changed a lot. And the other thing is, and you'll see that in some of this material that's in the bags, is there's so much out there for family members of veterans now that didn't used to be out there, and there's a lot more information about what dependents are eligible for. And I'm trying to reach him and go, maybe it's not for you, but how about your wife when you die, and your children and things that they might be eligible for and stuff like that. So maybe I'll get him, but it's just sometimes you gotta try to pull a little harder to get the hook set before you reel them in. So, but besides the Women's Health Building, we also have been approved for a Fisher House, which, if you're familiar with the Ronald McDonald House, where if you got a person that they go in the hospital, the family can stay, we have a Fisher House that we've gotten approved for. We have to raise half the money, which means $3 million. So if anybody wants to write a check for part of that, you can go on the VA website, and there's a link where you can click on to add some money to our account. So we're just starting the fundraising for our half of the $6 million, and it'll be built on the site back near where the lake is. If you're familiar with the facility where the lake is at, it'll be built kind of facing that lake. So kind of a nice thing for the family. And we've also been approved for additional CLC, which is Community Living Center. I don't know how familiar you all are with nursing homes, but if you go into a nursing home out in the community, and I'm not picking on any particular one, but a lot of times the first thing you smell when you walk in the door is urine. And you're just like, are these people being taken care of or not? When you walk into the VA, you don't notice that at all. The folks, if they're in a room where there's 2 veterans staying, they have separate bathrooms, space to their own, nursing staff all the time, 24 hours, 7 days a week. So it's like an upscale nursing home type thing. We have recreation therapy staff that they go out and they play games with them and things to keep them active. And I'm going to tell you this one thing because I love this, but we have some veterans that they wouldn't get out and do stuff with the rec therapy staff when they come. They just stay in their room and don't want to get out and stuff. Well, a little while back, we came up with this idea. We've taken Christmas trees that we're not using, and we have the headband that you put on with the antlers on it. And we got one of our veteran service organizations to donate Nerf guns. The staff hide behind the trees and come out, and the veterans shoot at them with the Nerf guns. Now, some of these veterans who've never come out of their room, they will come out to shoot at staff with a Nerf gun. So they're all about that. So that's just one of those things that we do to make life in a CLC unit a little more interesting. And they have pool tables and ping pong and stuff like that. So, and we do the competitions with other VAs where the handicapped veterans go out and they compete with other veterans, the wheelchair games kind of thing. So we have folks that will go and do those kinds of things off and on. And so we've been approved for one more of the community living centers. We have about 150 or so right now that are in the community living centers. And we generally, except for the COVID period, we generally run somewhere over 300 people, resident veterans at the VA. Besides the community living centers, we also have folks in the 3 different programs, PTSD, post-traumatic stress, homeless program, and also for substance abuse. So we have those 3 programs, and right now they're running about 60, and we should be somewhere close to double that. So, And we're picking that back up as we kind of get away from the COVID stuff. So that's kind of where we're at with the VA.
Call Mr. Appliance for a speedy expert service. Or your appliance is not performing correctly, call 309-5960. Mr. Appliance of Dublin is your go-to company for dependable quality appliance service. Our experts are committed to delivering exceptional results in a timely manner, whether you need repairs, replacement parts, or general maintenance. Technicians are available on your schedule and always provide courteous, respectful, and quality work every time. Our technicians always explain and ensure understanding so you'll never encounter surprise fees. Trust Mr. Appliance for residential and commercial repair, service, and maintenance. Call 309-5960. That's 309-5960. 309-5960. Serving Dublin and the surrounding area. Mr. Appliance and Speedy Expert Service, a locally owned and operated franchise.
Hi, I'm Tom Domney, Dublin Nelson Company. We're a full-service wholesaler specializing in plumbing, irrigation, and industrial products. We are committed to building long-term relationships with our customers by earning your business every day. With a staff that collectively offers more than 50 years of expertise, our team knows your industry. We're able to answer your questions and are ready to help you get the parts and equipment you need. At Dublin Nelson, our goal is long-term success of your business. We achieve that goal with a simple commitment, doing things right, one customer at a time. Our showroom is complete with the latest styles and fixtures. Stop by and see us at 507 Airport Road or give us a call at 478-272-3585. That's Dublin Nelson.